Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another installment of the Key Essentials. In this video, we're going to be doing 21503, which is suspected child abuse maltreatment, otherwise known as the scam report. In the first part of the video, we're just going to go over how to remove the child, and then the second part, we're going to go over just the paperwork. So let's get going. So UMOS, call the patrol supervisor always. Take the child before the boss arrives if there's imminent danger and you have parent or guardian consent. If you don't have parent or guardian consent, you have to wait for a boss. So wait for the boss if you don't have consent. Patrol supervisor, direct removal, even without the parental consent, if there is reasonable cause to believe that child's continued presence in the home is imminently dangerous to his or her health and there's no time to get a court order. What will no time to get a court order look like on an exam? That's not for us to say. On one exam, they gave you in the body of the question that court was closed. So you're going to have to figure it out on the exam if they're trying to tell you that there's no time to get a court order, and what will that look like. Now, in order to figure out what that's going to look like, you're going to have to assess inside the stem of the question. So if it's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday and there's nothing going on, you're going to be hard pressed to prove that there was no time to get a court order. So the answer may well be seize the apartment, hold everybody there, and go get an emergency court order. So you're going to have to make that decision while you take the test. It's going to be a judgment call about whether you take the kid right there over the parent's consent or if you freeze everything and everybody and you send somebody down to get an emergency court order. So you're going to have to figure that out on the day that you take the exam. So back to the UMOS. UMOS, arrest if you have probable cause. They don't get a DAT. Advise the non-abusing parent or guardian of services and give a phone number for safe horizons for the child. Just knowing that you give out the phone number for Safe Horizon was worth 1 point on a previous exam. So you have to know that. Look for indicators of other domestic violence. If you see indicators of other domestic violence, like the wife is abused, for example, then you do a separate 61 for other domestic violence. Prepare 6 pieces of paper if you remove the child. We're going to go over that next. Remove the child to command or to the CAC, the Child Advocacy Center. Remain at the CAC until picked up by a relative, friend, or ACS. If the child needs medical attention, take him to the hospital. Patrol supervisor, direct that notice of temporary removal of child and right to hearing be served or affixed. So you direct, the cop prepares it and serves the parent. So UMOS, notify New York State Child Abuse and Maltreatment Register. This is the state central registry. If New York State refuses the case, put the time and name that who you spoke to in the telephone record, and we're still going to make the form. If they accept the case, put the registry number that they give you on the scam report in the state registry box. That means no telephone record log if they accept the case. Call the ACS Borough Field Office 9 to 5 or their Emergency Children's Services after hours. Notify ACS's Instant Response Team Coordinator, that's the IRT. Desk officer, secure shelter for the child and comply with 21501, which is child or minor requiring care. Tell parent or guardian to call ACS or ACS's Emergency Children's Services after hours. Never give them the location of the child. We never return a kid to the home if the kid is a victim of a crime or abused by parent or guardian. Now, there are other agents around the city that can remove children. If they decide on the removal, then we don't override them. Now, let's take a look at the paperwork. There are 6 pieces of paper which the MOS prepares and submits to the desk officer. You just do the first 3 if you're just reporting the family for the state registry, but you do all 6 if you're reporting the family and you're removing the child. So the 6 pieces of paper are complaint report, scam report, DIR, aided report, notice of removal, and affidavit. So if you're just reporting the family to the state registry, you just do the complaint report, the scam report, and the DIR. If you're removing the child, you do the complaint report, scam report, DIR, and the aided notice of removal and the affidavit. Now, something interesting about the aided here. The aided presumes that the aided is on the child. The aided report is on the child. And if the aided report is on the child, they must need medical treatment. And if they must need medical treatment, then it stands to reason that we're removing them. So the fact that number 4 is the aided, it's presumed by the patrol guide that if you're doing an aided report, you should remove the child. And keep that in mind for the exam. Now there's some notes here about each one of these forms, so let's read them together. The complaint report, the detective's name and case number goes in the notifications to box on the rear of the 61. Separate 61 if cop finds any domestic violence or other family offenses, such as an existing order of protection. The scam report, the suspected child abuse maltreatment report, desk officer forward in a sealed envelope in the next department mail. The original and the second copy goes to the ACS office in the borough where the child resides. It goes to ACS in Manhattan if the child resides outside the city. The third copy goes to the youth coordinating officer. The fourth copy, along with the aided report, goes to Youth Strategies Division. File copy with DIR attached. The DIR, UMOS prepare and submit to the desk with the 61 worksheet and the aided report. UMOS give the pink copies to the complainant victim and put ICANN number on it if it came from a radio run. Aided report, UMOS prepare and submit to desk with the DIR. Desk officers send copy to Youth Strategies Division along with the fourth copy of the scam report. Now for the notice of removal. This is what you give the parent when you take the child. Patrol supervisor directs the UMOS to serve this on the parent or guardian or affix it to the door if the parent or guardian is not present. So cop serves it to the parents if they're home and affixes it to the door of the residence if they're not home. If it's affixed to the door because they weren't home, then we also have to mail a copy within 24 hours. If the residence is in another command, desk officer have that command serve or nail and mail it. If the parent or guardian or residence is not known or it's outside New York City, go with 21603, which is unidentified, and then the detective will serve the notice and notify them. Desk officer forward copy of notice and affidavit to the precinct youth coordination officer. Whoever served or nailed and mailed the notice must be the one to make out the affidavit because you're affirming that you personally served this notice. So if you personally served the notice, then you're the one who has to fill out the affidavit. So affidavit, desk officer, countersign and mail to family court of the borough of removal in 24 hours, except weekends and holidays. Desk officer, ensure notification efforts are noted thereon. So think about it. The court is not the one that gets the affidavit. They don't know that you've taken the court is the one who has to be made aware that you've served the parent, right? So the notice of removal, the parent gets that. So far, the court's gotten nothing. So the affidavit goes to the court to let them know that you've taken this child and that you've served the parent with the notice of removal. Otherwise, how is the court supposed to know? You're going to tell them by mailing it to family court, the borough of removal, within 24 hours. Now, there are some steps here for the youth coordination officer and the domestic violence prevention officer. We're just going to read them. A lot of it is inspecting and checking and reviewing, but we're going to read it anyway so that you can hear it. Youth coordination officer, inspect all copies of the scam report, including forms done by Transit Bureau or Housing, and give it a serial number. Review other precinct records and confer with domestic violence sergeant and assigned precinct detective squad investigator to develop information. Check juvenile report system worksheet, database, complaint index, aided index, and DIRs for previous contacts with the home. Make a folder for each scam report kid, removed or not, and put copies in that folder of all other related forms. Review all forms, and if something comes up to a complaint revision, and forward to precinct detective squad. Enter results of the review on the rear of the scam and forward to Youth Strategies Division. Maintain liaison with appropriate ACS field office. Domestic Violence Prevention Officer, review DIR for accuracy and completeness. Record DIR in Precinct Domestic Incident Log. Enter information from DIR into Domestic Incident Report Database. Forward copy of the DIR to Domestic Violence Investigator. Maintain file of DIRs, including copies of scam reports when attached. Monitor at-risk locations and victims. Relay information of any other offenses committed within the household from where the child was removed to the youth coordinating officer and to the assigned investigator. Maintain contact with complainants and advise them of their rights and the availability of shelter. Now, don't forget about certain referrals. The case gets referred to special victims if the child is less than 11, abused by a parent or guardian, or any age for a sex crime or attempt by anyone. The precinct detective squad gets everything else. If Special Victims Unit, the IRT unit, calls and has the precinct investigate, do a 61 if necessary, but not a scam report because they already did it. Title of a non-removal 61 is Investigate Child Abuse. Okay, ladies and germs, that's going to be my time. Good luck studying. I'll see you in the classes.